He was a motivational speaker, a successful businessman, and a devout Mormon. He had friends, siblings, and a promising career. Everybody loved Travis. But there was one person who loved him a little too much. September 2006. Travis Alexander is at the MGM Grand Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada, attending a convention for prepaid legal. Alexander meets and talks with many people that night, among of which is Jodi Arias, a young woman who catches Alexander's eye inside the Rainforest Cafe. After a long conversation, it became increasingly obvious that the two of them had quite a bit in common, and Alexander and Arias would spend the rest of the weekend getting to know each other. Alexander and Arias would eventually go their separate ways, but keep in contact over the next several months, from phone calls to text messages to the beginning of what would become over 82,000 emails. Though she was not officially coupled with Alexander, Arias would become more and more attached, even going as far as to ask him to baptize her into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints on November 26, 2006. To Alexander, a devout Mormon, having an official relationship with someone who you were not intending to marry was not acceptable. But after 5 months of meeting, he would officially accept the invitation to become a couple in February of 2007. This relationship was not destined for marriage, however. After just 4 months of dating, the couple would call it quits in June of 2007. The breakup was apparently mutual, and they remained friends and even had occasional sexual encounters, though Alexander was adamant about not disclosing this to his friends and family due to his affiliation with the church. Again, this arrangement was not long-lasting. In July of 2007, Alexander began a new relationship with fellow Mormon Lisa Daydoni. Not long after the relationship started, Daydoni started to receive obscene emails from a sender only to be named as John Doe. In December of 2007, Alexander came out of his driveway to discover that all 4 of his car tires had been slashed. Friends of Alexander suspected that Arias might have been the culprit, though this has never been proven. Similar to his last relationship, Alexander and Daydoni would not last longer than a few months, as in February of 2028, Daydoni became aware that Alexander was still having a sexual relationship with Arias. Within weeks of their breakup, Arias relocated over 1,000 miles from Yreka, California to Mesa, Arizona, less than 10 minutes away from Travis Alexander. During her time in Arizona, Arias and Alexander would get along better than ever, as they frequently traveled together, lived together, and even worked together when Alexander would pay Arias for cleaning his house. Even though their relationship was looking bright, Arias would once again have a falling out with Alexander that would cause her to move back to Yreka in the spring of 2008. On May 28, 2008, the grandparents of Jodi Arias would file a police report after a break-in happened at their home. Amongst the items stolen was their .25 caliber handgun, which is yet to be found. In June of 2008, Alexander had plans to travel to Cancun with another love interest named Mimi Hall, while Arias had plans to travel to Utah to visit a love interest of her own, Ryan Burns. On June 3rd of 2008, Arias buys a 5-gallon gas can from a Walmart in Salinas, California, before borrowing 2 more from her ex-boyfriend, Daryl Brewer. After renting a car, she heads seemingly to Utah, but instead takes a detour. In the early hours of June 4, 2008, Jodi Arias arrives at the front door of Travis Alexander, where she stays until the early evening. On June 5, 2008, Arias meets Ryan Burns in Utah, where she stays another night before heading home to Yreka. After not hearing from Alexander for several days, on June 9, 2008, Mimi Hall decides to contact some of Alexander's friends to ask about his whereabouts. Equally concerned, the group decides to go to Alexander's house. They were let in the house by Travis's roommate, Zach Billings, who was surprised to hear that Alexander had not already gone to Cancun. After finding a spare key to the locked master bedroom, Alexander is finally found.
What's going on?
A friend of ours is dead in his bedroom. We hadn't heard from him for a while. We think he's dead. His roommate just went in there and said there's lots of blood. I didn't go in, but I can give you the phone to someone who went in there.
Yes, please, can you?
Hello.
Hi, so what's going on?
He's dead. He's in his bedroom.
Okay.
In the shower.
Okay. How did this happen? Do you have any idea?
No, we have no idea. Everyone's been wondering about him for a few days.
She said that there was blood. So is it coming from his head? Did he cut his head?
It's all over the place.
Has he been threatened by anyone recently?
Yes, he has. Okay. He has an ex-girlfriend that's been bothering him and following him and slashing tires and things like that.
And do you know the ex-girlfriend's name?
Her name is Jody.
Days after being discovered, a memorial service was conducted for Travis Alexander. There were many family and friends in attendance, including Alexander's ex-girlfriend, Jody Arias, who was also in regular contact with investigators to offer her help in discovering the identity of the killer.
161082.
Hello?
Hello, can you speak to Jody, please?
This is Jody.
Hey, Jody, this is Detective Steve Flores with the Bay Services Police Department.
Oh, hey, how are you?
Good. I just got a message from one of my patrol officers that you needed to talk to me about something.
Well, I just wanted to offer any assistance that I might have. I was a really good friend of Travis's, and I just, I know that I don't know a lot of anything, but...
What have you heard so far?
I heard that he passed away and that it was... I don't know. I've heard all kinds of rumors. I heard there was a lot of blood. I heard that his roommate found him or his friend found him or people were... I'm sorry. I'm upset, but...
In the late hours of July 15, 2008, Arias is arrested at her grandparents' home in Wairika for the murder of Travis Alexander. Later that evening, during an interview by Esteban Flores, the same person whom she was speaking with on the phone, Arias claims that she was nowhere near Mesa, Arizona during the time of Alexander's murder, applying an alibi that she took a trip to Utah instead, even drawing a map for Flores of the route she took. Flores is quick to find holes in her story.
I have a problem with this trip.
Well, I went first too.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know you went down here.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, Wairika, right there.
After several denials, Flores tells Arias exactly what he knows.
And even if there's still 20 some odd hours, even if you pulled over to sleep a couple of times.
Oh, did I tell you that I got stranded?
Yeah.
Okay.
You mentioned that. If you slept for 10 hours,
I only slept for
here
an
and
hour.
here, it would still leave 18 some odd hours. Yeah. Or something else. Okay. This is what people...
I was not at Travis's house. Was not.
You were at Travis's house. You guys had a sexual encounter, which there's pictures. And I know you know there's pictures because I have them. Remember I told you about the camera?
Mm-hmm.
That camera was damaged. Someone put it in a washing machine, ran it through a wash cycle with some clothes of Travis's, but the card's intact. Remember I told you that card was destroyed? I didn't want to tell you the truth because I wanted to make sure those photos were accurate. And we can pull deleted photos. I don't care if you delete them 6 months ago. We can pull every photo that was ever on there. Pull the little pixels together. Get the timestamps on them. Not all of them, but most of them have timestamps on them. And we can verify those timestamps.
Mm-hmm.
And I have pictures of you in Travis's bedroom with Travis, pictures of him, and it's obvious you guys are having sex, taking photos of each other, and they're dated and time-stamped on the day he died. I know you took pictures of him in the shower just before he died.
I don't think he would allow that.
And the camera actually took a couple of photos by accident during the time that he was being killed.
Really?
Yeah, Joey, really. Your left palm print at the scene, in blood. You either had blood on your hand and you touched the wall, or there was blood on the wall and you touched the blood. A records check shows you that you has reported a gun stolen. 25 auto. Just happens to be same caliber as the weapon used to kill him. It's you. I wanted to cover you up because that's you. All of you.
That looks like me.
That's you. But it's just one of the photos that was taken by accident. And this is just a small portion of it. It's your foot, Jody. Those are your pants. No, it's off color because we had to enhance it and the color kind of changes a little bit. Let's try this.
This is his bathroom. That is not my foot.
Although the evidence is overwhelming, Arias continues to deny all involvement with the crime. The next day, investigators switch tactics by placing a female investigator to speak with Arias in hopes that the softer tone might encourage her to tell the truth.
There's no question in my mind or any of the other investigators' mind that you were the person that took Travis's life. But what I need to know, or what I'd like to know, and give you the opportunity to do, is determine whether, you're a cold-blooded, cold-hearted murderer who slaughtered this guy, or are you somebody that got caught up in circumstances and things got out?
This conversation inevitably wields no results. It is not until Detective Flores returns when Arias, with her back against the wall, tells a shocking story.
He was kneeling down in the shower. I don't remember him. If this is his shower and the sink is over here, I was right here taking pictures. And I was just going through the pictures and I heard this loud ring. And I don't really remember except Travis was screaming. And he was holding his head. And I was like, are you okay? What's going on? What's going on? He's like, go get help, go get help. And I said, okay. And I turned around. There were two people there. One was a guy and one was a girl. I took it out like a little bitch.
You took off.
I ran, and he stopped me when
He stopped you?
And Travis, he was he was still conscious and still alive, and
But you just left him there.
no, I ran into the closet because there's two doors, and they were sort of in the hallway already, and he stopped me and he didn't touch me. He was just held the gun to my head, and he was like, "You don't go anywhere." And she said that they needed to do me too because it was there. And he's like, "No, that's not why we're here." And I was calling his name and they were like, shut the hell up. And I was just, I don't know if I was crying. It was all just like, it was so weird. He was going through my purse, and he pulled out my wallet, and he just took some cash, put it in his pocket. He got my registration out of my wallet, and he said, you must be that bitch from California. And he was going like this with my registration, and he said, if you ever say anything about this, he said they'll do to my family the same way and me. And I didn't care so much about me at that point. He said, you need to leave, and don't you call anybody, and don't you say anything, and don't you act like anything happened. He said, I'm giving you one chance. And she said she's gonna rat us off, she's gonna say something, and he was like, shut up. He's like, you get one chance.
Is that when you left?
I said, leave now.
Detective Flores is quick to shoot this story down as well.
I don't believe you. But I came in here hoping that you would tell me the truth. And this is not the truth, Jody.
This is all I know.
Does not make any sense. It does not make any sense.
In September of 2008, Jodi Arias is extradited to Arizona in preparation to stand for her own defense in the murder trial of Travis Alexander. While in Arizona awaiting trial, Arias conducts multiple media interviews where she shares fond memories of Alexander and professes her innocence.
Like, oh, hi, and he's a good conversationalist. He just kept me engaged in conversation constantly, and he wanted to know about me, and people like to talk about themselves, so it was just one thing led to another, and we became great friends.
Did you two work together?
I had nothing to do with his murder. I didn't harm him in any way. No jury is going to convict me.
Why not?
Because I'm innocent, and you can mark my words on that one. No jury will.
To everyone's surprise, in August of 2010, Arias changes her story once again, this time claiming self-defense. On January 2, 2013, the first-degree murder trial of Jodi Arias begins.
Jodi Arias killed Travis Alexander. There is no question about it. The million-dollar question is what would have forced her to do it. And throughout this trial, you will hear that Jodi was indeed forced.
This is not a case of whodunit. The person who done it, the person who committed this killing, sits in court today. It's the defendant, Jodi Ann Arias. And the person that she done it to is an individual by the name of Travis Victor Alexander, a former boyfriend of hers, an individual that she was in love with, an individual that was a good man, an individual that was one of the greatest blessings in her life. And this love, well, she rewarded that love for Travis Victor Alexander by sticking a knife in his chest. And he was a good man, according to her. And with regard to being a good man, well, she slit his throat as a reward for being a good man. And in terms of these blessings, well, she knocked the blessings out of him by putting a bullet in his head during one event that occurred on June 4th of 2008.
Amongst multiple experts and witnesses, Arias would take the stand on February 4th, 2013.
Did you kill Travis Alexander on June 4th, 2008?
Yes, I did.
Why?
The simple answer is that he attacked me, and I defended myself.
Throughout the trial, Arias would claim to suffer memory issues, battered woman syndrome, and post-traumatic stress disorder. She would also claim that she had caught Alexander pleasuring himself to a picture of a young boy. The prosecution argued that these statements were just excuses to cover up multiple strands in Jody's endless web of lies, showcasing the bizarre behavior of a woman who consistently performed dishonest acts, including spying on Alexander when he was with other women.
Felt that it was okay for you to go over to his house in August of 2007, didn't you?
After he told me,
yes. Yes or no? Did you feel it was okay to go over to his house?
I said yes.
And when you went over to his house, you indicated that you knocked or you did something. So you went around the back then to look, right?
I went around the back to get in.
You went around the back then, right?
Yes.
And when you went around the back, you're telling us you went around the back to get in, right?
Yes.
But when you got to the back to get in, you started to look at what was going on, right?
I glanced in as I was walking to the sliding glass door.
You did walk in and you were looking at what was going on, right?
I did not walk in.
Then you were from outside looking in, right?
Yes.
Never went in, right?
No, I ran out of the backyard.
You never went in, yes or no?
I said no.
And when you went and looked, you saw something that upset you, right?
Yes.
You saw Mr. Alexander, right? And inside that house, there was a female, right?
Yes.
What's the name of the female?
He didn't tell me her name.
I'm asking that. Did I ask you if he told you the name?
No.
So, did you recognize her?
No, I did not.
And he was there with the female, though. You were able to see her face, though, right?
Yes, sort of.
Well, yes or sort of means two different things. Yes or no? Were you able to see her face or not?
Part of it was shadowed from the TV.
And secretly recording phone sex conversations.
It's like, it just, so smooth. And it goes so, every time you fuck me, so good. Getting really close.
Maybe I have to try on you itself. There's so many things I want to do, and we're all jibbing on you that we're gonna have to do any session.
Come, baby.
Though this did not prevent Jody Arias from telling her version of events.
After you dropped the camera, how do you feel?
I was scared. I was thinking crap because it's everything that I was trying to avoid downstairs when he started getting mad. I was doing everything I could to avoid that, and I still didn't avoid it. I still screwed it up. I rolled, like I said, I rolled off to my left and began to run down the hallway, and I could hear him follow. I could hear his footsteps chasing me.
Were you scared when he was chasing you?
Yeah, I didn't want him to grab me again. So I ran into the closet and I slammed the door. I remembered where he kept a gun, so I grabbed it. I jumped up on the shelf, kept it on the very top. I grabbed it and I turned around and pointed it at him so that he would stop chasing me. If someone were pointing a gun at me, I would stop. But he just kept running. He got like a linebacker. He got kind of low and grabbed my waist. But before he did that, as he was lunging at me, the gun went off. I didn't mean to shoot him or anything. I didn't even think I was holding the trigger. I just was pointing it at him. And I didn't even know that I shot him.
The prosecution would bring up all points of evidence, including all the pictures she took of Alexander right before and even directly during the killing. Perhaps one of the most damning pieces of evidence involved not the killing, but the apparent preparation behind it.
The other thing that you told us with regard to these gas cans is that you purchased one in Salinas, California, right?
Yes.
5-gallon gas can, right?
Yes.
And you purchased this gas can in Salinas, and you said after a short period of time, you didn't say a period of time, but you said that you returned it back to the store in the Walmart in Salinas, right?
That's correct.
And it's the same store that you brought it from, right?
Yes.
Why is it then, ma'am, that you showed up with 3 gas cans in Salt Lake City?
I went to Mesa with 2 gas cans.
Well, you left Salt Lake City area in the very early morning hours, right?
Yes.
You filled up with gas, right?
I think I did. I don't know.
Well, let's look. Let's start looking at this. And that's Tesoro, right? That's a
Yes.
gas station, right?
Yes.
And you put some gasoline there, right?
Yes.
And it does tell us here that you went to pump number 2, right?
Yes.
Put in 10.672 gallons, right?
Yes.
And the price for each one was $3.85 per gallon, right?
Yes.
And it was $41.18, right?
Yes.
Then at exhibit 237.017, same gas station. You see that?
Yes.
You see the date and the approval time?
Yes.
It's 4:05 in the morning, correct?
Correct.
And on this one, it's $36.98, right?
Yes.
And it talks about that you're at pump 2 again, and it's 9.583 gallons, right?
That's correct.
You actually put in more gas, though, didn't you?
I don't know.
Well, then let's take a look at, you had a bank account with Washington Mutual, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
And there are statements that they send out to you, don't they?
I think I got them online, usually.
But there are statements that are prepared, whether they are
Yes.
online or they're sent out, right?
That's correct.
And if you take a look at this purchase here from Tesoro, you see the amount there?
Yes.
How much is that, ma'am?
$36.98.
Okay. Let's take a look at exhibit number 237.017. How much is the amount?
$36.98.
It's the same station, it's same amount, correct?
Correct.
That's the same purchase, right?
Yes.
And exhibit number 237.016, it's for how much, ma'am?
$41.18.
And if we go down here, you see that right there?
Yes.
How much is that?
$41.18.
That's the same amount, right?
Correct.
And then you do have, though, a third transaction there. Do you see that?
Yes.
1965, right?
Yes.
Ma'am, if we go back to exhibit number 237.017, how much was the price per gallon that you bought that day?
It looks like $3.85.
And 9/10, right?
Yes.
Ma'am, if you take this amount per gallon, $3.859 per gallon, and you divide it into this amount of 1965, do you know how much, what that division would indicate?
No.
Would it surprise you that it would indicate that it's 5.09? Would that surprise you?
No.
So, you make 3 purchases here, don't you?
Yes.
You also, there are 2 purchases for sure that we know that are for gas, right?
That's correct.
The other one is for 1965, right?
Yes.
If we do the mathematics, that equals 5 gallons of gas. If you were putting gas.
Objection argumentative is there's no testimony that it was gas.
On May 3, 2013, closing arguments are made.
And the judge has indicated that your duty is to follow the law as she's given it to you and apply it to the facts. And in asking that, the state is asking you that you return a verdict of guilty, and that you return a verdict of guilty as to first-degree murder, not only as premeditated murder, but also as to felony murder, for no other reason that it's your duty and the facts and the law support it. Thank you.
What I'm saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, is ultimately, if Miss Arias is guilty of any crime at all, it is the crime of manslaughter and nothing more.
On May 8, 2013 at 1:49 p.m., the jury reached their verdict.
State of Arizona versus Jody Ann Arias, verdict, count 1. We, the jury, duly impaneled and sworn in the above entitled action upon our oaths, do find the defendant as to count 1, first-degree murder, guilty. 5 jurors find premeditated, 0 find felony murder, 7 find both premeditated and felony. Signed, foreperson. Is this your true verdict, so say you want it all?
On May 16, 2013, the penalty phase trial begins to decide whether Arias will get life in prison or be put to death. The jury hangs on May 23rd, with 8 jurors voting for death and 4 voting for life. On October 21, 2014, a retrial for penalty begins. Once again, the jury hangs on March 5, 2015, with 11 jurors voting for death and 1 holding out for life in prison. As dictated by Arizona state law on April 7, 2015, Judge Stevens was left with making the decision between life with or without the possibility of parole. After 1 week of recounting aggravating factors and mitigating circumstances, there was only one thing left to do: listen to the family members of the accused and departed.
I've had dreams of my brother all curled up in the shower, thrown in there, left to rot for days, all alone.
But instead he was brutally murdered by a jealous, obsessive person that decided for herself that if she couldn't have him, nobody else would. This person who once said she couldn't think of anyone that didn't love Travis, that if she killed Travis, she would beg for the death penalty. The one who wrote in her journal that the person who did this sickening crime deserved a needle in their arm. What happened to that? What happened to that, Jody?
I'm Sandy Arias. I'm Jody's mother. I'm sure you know who I am by now. We were born into this world kicking and screaming. We go through life trying to figure out life itself. We try the best we can. Doesn't make us a bad person. It makes us human.
On August 13, 2015, Judge Stevens makes her decision after listening to Arias speak one final time.
To this day, I can't believe that I was capable of doing something that terrible. I can't even... I'm truly disgusted and I'm repulsed with myself. I'm horrified because of what I did, and I wish there was some way I could take it back.
It is ordered. The defendant shall be incarcerated in the Department of Corrections for the rest of her natural life with no possibility of parole.
On March 4, 2020, Arias has her appeal for a retrial denied. At this time, Jody Arias will spend the rest of her life at the Arizona Department of Corrections, where she still maintains her innocence.
Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees. Oh, hear the angel voices. Oh, night divine, oh, night when Christ was born. Oh, night divine.
Travis Alexander had it all: the career, the lifestyle, the love. But it's possible that love can be somebody's undoing. Because sometimes behind that love is lying in wait the deadly truth.